As you are all aware, there has been a lot of discussion in the community about the recent shootings and acts of violence. You will also recall that we have held 3 town hall meetings to hear the community's views on violence. That conversation has included talk about what the National Violence Reduction Strategy is delivering to address the violence in our country. What is obvious to me is that people want to understand what has been happening with the strategy since it was tabled in December of 2024. And they want clear information about where things stand today. I understand the concern. I hear from families, community leaders, and people on the street who tell me that they want to see more action and more coordination. I take that seriously because these issues affect all of us. I want to be very clear. The police cannot carry this alone. Government cannot carry this alone. No law, no tactic, and no enforcement plan will work if parents, families, neighborhoods, and the wider community do not stand with us. Violence is not a problem that sits in one corner of this island. It reaches into homes, schools, and churches, and it demands that all of us take responsibility. And let us speak honestly. This is not acceptable, and it is why we need a united and determined community effort if we are serious about stopping the cycle of harm. Every time I speak on this subject, I stress that point because some people still believe that this is something for the police to fix by themselves. It is not. We must all take responsibility for the environment in which our young people are being raised. So today, I want to speak about the progress that has been made, the work that is ongoing, and the next steps. I want people to hear directly what has been done, what is new, and how the strategy is being used as a living plan across government. This is not quick work. It is not light work. It is work that takes time because what we have built through the strategy has never been done before in Bermuda. This is the first time we have brought together so many ministries, agencies, community groups, service providers, and schools under one coordinated violence reduction framework. One of the significant developments over the past year has been the modernization of the Parental Responsibility Act. This is one of the early actions coming out of the National Violence Reduction Strategy. Introduce practical and supportive requirements for families, including parenting classes, counseling, and program participation, instead of relying only on punitive measures. This work matters because when we provide support to parents and families, we reduce the chance that young people fall into violence. Across the 3 town halls, many residents spoke honestly about parents needing more support. We heard that clearly, and these reforms reflect what the community has been seeking. Early intervention is another area where real progress has been made. The interagency gang enforcement team has been reconvened and given an enhanced mandate. This team brings together police, education, health, social services with the purpose of shifting from responding only after incidents have occurred to creating a coordinated, preventative approach. The team will be used as a case management tool where agencies share information, track referrals, and provide wraparound support to individuals who are at the highest risk of serious violence. This type of unified structure has not existed before in Bermuda, and it takes time to get all agencies working in a synchronized manner. But that coordination is now taking shape. The Gang Violence Reduction continues to address the root causes of violence, and many of their programs existed before the strategy was finalized and actually helped to shape it. These programs remain active and have steadily grown. The Hype League has supported more than 150 young people with structured sports, mentorship, and life skills training. Partnership with Care Computer and the Adult Education School are helping young people with opportunities for continued education and employment. The Gang Violence Reduction Team also delivers the IM program, a personal development curriculum focused on emotional regulation, resilience, and self-awareness. It is being refined with the Ministry of Education for an expansion of the program. The strategy also includes national campaigns aimed at changing mindsets and encouraging people to speak openly about trauma, stress, and mental health. The Stop the Violence and Actors Like Us campaigns has reached more than 200,000 people across digital platforms. Another campaign focused on mental and emotional health was developed to help people find support and reduce stigma. We cannot build solutions if people keep silent about their pain, and these campaigns are sparking conversations that many families have avoided for years. So looking forward, a National Violence Reduction Strategy Coordinator is scheduled to start in January. This role will provide cross-ministry coordination, improve data collection, and monitor the delivery of all National Violence Reduction Strategy actions. This is another first for Bermuda. We have never had a national coordinator dedicated solely to violence reduction. This post will bring structure, consistency, and accountability to the work. Another important milestone in the next phase of this work is the formation of the Interagency Community Response. This group will act as the coordination center for enhancing neighborhood-level prevention, mobilization, and community safety networks. The IGCR will bring together faith and community leaders, along with community organizations, to support shared responsibility across the island. Early priorities will include relaunching neighborhood watch initiatives, community training in mediation and trauma awareness, and parish-based mobilization focused on rebuilding trust, connection, and local leadership. The IGCR is intended to facilitate community action. As demonstrated during the town halls, we understand that genuine progress depends on people stepping forward. We want residents, parents, coaches, elders, and young people to participate in this effort, because creating safer neighborhoods and a safer island cannot be achieved by the government alone. I also want to talk about the public conversations that have taken place. As I stated in the House last week, over the past few weeks, we held the 3 town halls on violence reduction with the governor, the commissioner of police, and myself. The most recent was on the 17th of November at Dalton E. Tucker Primary School. These meetings were valuable. People came out, they spoke honestly, and they raised points that we need to hear. The public's ideas matter, and several of the issues they raised align directly with the strategy. Feedback on parenting, early intervention, community involvement, and trauma support is shaping how we apply the strategy in real life. I now want to speak in detail about the Gang Violence Reduction Team under the leadership of Bishop Leroy Bean, because the public deserves to understand the depth of what they do. A great deal of their work is not seen and cannot be publicized, but it is meaningful and it definitely saves lives. Before the strategy was even created, the GVRT had already been running successful outreach and intervention programs. In fact, many of the programs that shaped the strategy were born from GVRT's frontline experience. One of the strongest examples is their overseas mission work. Just before the COVID pandemic, the GVRT took 7 young Bermudian men who were known to be from different rival groups and traveled with them as part of a larger group of about 40 participants who traveled to Malawi in Africa. These young men had deep divides at home, but they were placed in an environment where they had to live together, work together, and rely on each other. They traveled, they built, they served, and they learned. For many of them, it was the first time they had stepped outside the island, and it forced them to put their differences aside. That made breakthroughs in trust and relationships that would never have happened on our streets. It was one of the most powerful interventions the GVRT has run, and it showed what can happen when you remove young men from the environment that feeds conflict. A new overseas mission is being planned, this time with even a larger group. I want to be clear that the young men selected for these trips are not random participants. They are already in the GVRT programs, already being mentored and identified as young men who need structured support. These trips are part of a deliberate strategy to change mindsets and break down rivalries in a practical, life-changing way. The GVRT also sponsors community clubs and is working to develop new programs that shift how young men think about themselves and their future. They deal directly with behavior therapy, because if behavior does not change, the cycle continues. They work with young people affected by generational trauma that has passed from one generation to the next. Changing that takes time, patience, and consistent effort. I want to speak about the role of Bishop Bean himself. Many times, while the country is asleep, he is out at all hours in the morning, counseling families, calming tensions, and preventing retaliation. He intervenes before, during, and after incidents. He works quietly with families who are dealing with grief, shock, anger, and fear. He engages directly with young men and women who are on the brink of making life-altering decisions. He steps in between rival groups to prevent violence from escalating. This work is unseen, but measured in lives not lost. The GVRT is not responsible for stopping all violence. No group can carry that expectation. Their mission is to help young people transition from antisocial behavior and into pro-social, productive lifestyles. They do that work every day in schools, in neighborhoods, in clubs, in homes, and on our streets. They do it quietly, and they do it consistently. I will close by saying this. Violence remains one of the most serious threats facing Bermuda. It affects our families, our neighborhoods, the safety of our young people, and the strength of our future. The public wants real change, and I want real change. But meaningful progress takes time. This strategy represents a long-term shift in how we deal with violence in our country. It is not a slogan, and is not a show. It is a structured plan that is being worked on every day across ministries, agencies, and community partners. We are seeing progress, but we are far from finished. We will keep moving forward, keep tightening our approach, and keep working with the public to bring down violence and antisocial behavior. Bermuda deserves nothing less. I am asking the community to stay engaged and actively support our programs by getting involved. We want you to hold us accountable, but also we want you to be a part of the solution. This is and our future will be directly impacted by the actions we all take today. For me and my ministry, we are committed to being a part of the solution. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. At this time, we're going to invite media questions, starting with the Royal Gazette.
Good morning, Minister.
Good morning.
A few months ago, it was announced, well, less than a few months ago, it was announced about the weapons amnesty and the weapons bins. Can you give us any update on that? Do you know of any weapons that have been turned in at this stage?
Well, I wouldn't know what weapons have been turned in at this stage. The amnesty actually ends, I believe, December 17th. So at that point, we will get an update of what weapons, if any, have been handed in.
So you have no information at this time?
At this point, no, I don't.
Now, a few of the initiatives that you mentioned today seem to be aimed at steering people away from getting into the violence, steering people getting away from it before they get involved. Can you say what measures are being done to get people who are already entrenched in this lifestyle away from it?
Well, actually, we have a three-pronged approach in the National Violence Reduction Strategy. prevention, intervention, and reintegration. Those young men and women that may find themselves already in that lifestyle, what we are doing is trying to help them, if they have not gotten their education, help them get their education, making them job ready, trying to get them mentored and steered in the right direction, giving them the tools that help them to stay away from the lifestyle that they have been currently engaging in.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Owen. We'll invite BBC for some questions.
Good afternoon. Good morning.
Good morning,
Thank you,
sir.
Minister. I wanted to touch on a few things that you'd mentioned going back to the House on Friday. Actually, you suggested a lot of the potential solutions brought up by the public at the recent town halls were already part of the National Violence Reduction Strategy, and you've reaffirmed that today. Was there anything that wasn't? Anything new that you think, that should be added?
Nothing necessarily new, but what could be expanded on that, what I took from it, that the parental responsibility act and training and teaching for parents and fathers in particular can be expanded on. But for the most part, since we have brought together a wide range of public and private entities in order to create the strategy, a lot of the issues are already being addressed.
Okay, so were the town halls, was the intention to see if there was anything new, or was it really just about being seen in the public, talking to the public, hearing their voices, but not necessarily expecting anything new strategically to come from it?
Not at all. I think the town halls would definitely to stay in touch with our public and to listen to concerns and comments to see if there's anything new. What I found for the most part was a confirmation of what the strategy is trying to implement now.
Okay, and at the town halls, did you get the impression that the community is satisfied with this government's actions to address community violence since 2017, such as the Gang Violence Reduction Team, and now a year in on the NVRS?
Overwhelmingly, yes. I think from what we gathered over these last the three town halls, was that the public realized that the strategy was being implemented. And some people felt that it could be implemented a little quicker, but I think for the most part, we found a lot of support from the public that attended the town hall meetings.
Okay, and you spoke today about some of the things that have been implemented over the last year, particularly noting on the Parental Responsibility Act, adjustments to the interagency gang enforcement team, shifting focus to a preventative approach. You said, will you release regular public measurements of the National Violence Reduction Strategy, as in showing how you are meeting the markers? And how will you do that? And can you commit to a regular updates, such as every 6 months, this is what we've done, every 12 months, this is what we've done?
Okay, to answer your first question, the answer is yes. We do intend to release statistics as to how far we have gotten on our National Violence Strategy implementation, and we are looking to do it once every 6 months or thereabouts.
Once every 6 months, okay.
Yeah.
And you mentioned, was it the National Violence Reduction Coordinator? Who will that be? Where are they coming from? How much will that role cost? And will it be one role or part of a new team?
Well, this National Violence Reduction Coordinator, we are very close to signing. Okay. We have chosen someone, but until all the particulars are sorted out, I would hold that information. And once that is done, because they're supposed to be starting in January, so shortly, we should be announcing the candidate to the public. Okay,
and in what way will that National Violence Reduction Coordinator work alongside the Gang Violence Reduction Coordinator? Will those two roles work together?
Well, the violence coordinator, well, first of all, yes. But this new post allows us to have someone that helps to bring all those different agencies together to help to make our strategy a little more streamlined. But definitely, they'll be working closely with our current game violence reduction team coordinator.
So essentially, this will be someone taking an overview approach and speaking to Pastor Leroy Bean, speaking to the Commissioner of Police, speaking to some of the community advocates, etc. We'll be trying to put it all together.
Definitely.
Right. And you did mention an overseas mission that the GVRT took 7 men overseas pre-COVID, went to Malawi, and that a new mission is being planned. Can you tell us anything about what has happened to those 7 young men that went to Malawi since then?
Well, I'm certain that the game violence reduction team has stayed in close contact with them, and if I can, I would have Bishop Bean just give you an update as to where the 7 men are now and how they're doing, if you don't mind.
Good morning to the listeners.
Good morning.
Yeah, we actually, the team makes regular contacts with the young man that actually went to Malawi. As a matter of fact, I can report that out of the seven are doing well. Got jobs, steady, some of them have started families, and actually are not involved in any antisocial behavior.
Thank you. Thank you. And coming to my final couple of questions, it was mentioned how the work that Pastor Bean is doing, stepping in between rival groups, and you said the words, the impact is measured in lives not lost. Recently, I sat down with Pastor Bean and asked this same question. Do you accept that you were faced with the problem of that you can't prove a negative? And with this in mind, does the work of the GVRT need some form of more publicity, at least the parts that are not as sensitive, such as the school clubs that are being run each week, prison education, some kind of awareness strategy?
As I had told you during our interview, first of all, it's we deal with a mixed method approach. That's quantitative and also qualitative. So quantitative in that we give the actual numbers, and qualitative in that we tell the story. We do keep numbers concerning our actually programs. For instance, during the example, we have the IM program. The IM program has actually engaged with over 400 participants. The redemption program and the high school program have engaged with over 210 participants. So roughly over 600 people have come through our program. I don't have the measurements of exactly what's what here today, but I can get them to you if you need them, and the success of those programs.
Okay, thank you. And one more question, and which is for Minister Weeks. And
Thank you.
are your hands tied by the state of the economy for those who engage in criminal activity because they want to flourish financially in this economy? Will that continue regardless, without a turnaround in the cost of living?
Well, the answer to your first question, the answer is no. The Premier and actually the Finance Minister, Bernie Sanders Finance Minister, has made it clear to me that any resource that we need in fighting crime, he will make available to us.
I'm not talking
And
about.
yes.
I'm not talking about the money for the programs. I'm talking
Right.
about the economy that Bermudians are living in, and for those who engage in criminal activity because they need the money.
But that would always be a challenge, Gary. People would try different things in order to put food on the table, but those that break the law, let them know that we're coming for you.
Okay. Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, Minister, for your briefing. And that concludes today's media conference. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.